Good morning and welcome to the Dominate Ductless podcast, where I share the insights and stories that help HVAC contractors. Good morning and welcome to the Dominate Ductless podcast, where I share insights and stories that help HVAC contractors successfully build businesses focused on ductless heat pumps. My conversations are with industry partners and contractors on how you support contractors in industry trends and practical advice that helps contractors grow. This morning, I have with me, I'd like to introduce Adam Hunt. And Adam is a longtime friend of mine. I've known Adam for probably over 20 years. And I'd like to welcome him to the show this morning. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
How you doing? All right, good?
I'm doing very good. Thank you. Yes, very good.
Good. So tell the audience, Adam, a little bit about yourself, just kind of how you started in this industry and where you are today. A short brief.
Yeah, so my journey really began with Mike about 20 years ago. I was going to the Peterson School of Engineering for HVAC and came across an ad for N.E.T.R. And it's funny, my mother actually was the one who called and tried to set up an appointment with Mike. So I came in, didn't know the difference between an open-ended wrench and a Phillips screwdriver at the time.
Wow.
But, I came in and had an interview with Mike, and, he had asked me at that time why he should hire me. And I said, because I don't know anything. And, you teach me how to do it and I'll do it your way. And the rest is history. I joined N.E.T.R, worked there as an installer for 12 years, doing residential ductless and some commercial refrigeration. After about 12 years, moved inside, installation manager for another 4. And then my journey kind of took me more on the supply side. So right now I am currently an account manager with the Webb Company out of Malden, Massachusetts, and just loving the trades and where it has taken me in my life.
That's an interesting story. I mean, you really helped me grow my business immensely. You were a strong partner that really helped me get where I needed to get. And, you had a lot of great ideas. And, I personally want to thank you for that too. So, what area do you, like, what's your day-to-day role now? Like, what do you do now?
So my role is really just working with different contractors, different companies, going out and seeing how I can best serve them in terms of, providing training, providing product, providing any kind of information on the industry, what's coming down the pike, really just trying to make their business run as efficiently as humanly possible. And where, when I was working with you, we were doing that with one team and our team, and that was fantastic. And I grew so much from that. And now I have the opportunity to kind of do that with 20 or 30 different companies where I feel like I'm a member of those teams as well. And it's such a great feeling at the end of the day to know that, I have an impact on all those people.
What does your company do to support contractors now? I mean, how does that roll? Like, what can you give me a little insight on that as to what your distributor? I mean, what your company does?
Yeah. So what we do is, we provide an endless amount of training. Recently, it's been real heavy with the A2L transition from 410A over to 32 and 454. So we're constantly providing training at all of our different locations. We come out and we will work with contractors in the field or actually at their office and try to help them kind of develop their business and purchasing habits and really just kind of bringing this newer generation of technicians out in the field up to speed with the new technologies and the new regulations that are in the workplace. So just and then providing lots of different options in terms of products, stuff like that. I mean, yeah. So we're just very, very hands-on with the contractor. And in my particular role, I get to be really the face out in the field and really touching the contractors personally.
That's really good. So let's talk a little bit about the heat pump market right now. I mean, what are you seeing? What are you seeing out there in the heat pump market right now? And how's the contractor interest still? I mean, high, low? I mean, tell me a little bit about what you're seeing with the heat pump market today?
Yeah. So to be honest with you, it's a little scary. And the reason why I say that is, I remember when we transitioned from R22 to R410A, and there was a lot of contractors that were real nervous about it. They didn't understand. They thought it was going to just be this massive disruption in their business, and it really wasn't. It wasn't that big of a deal. And now we're, fast forward 15 years, and we're kind of going through it again. And initially there was a real big holdup with specifically our 454, where you couldn't get it. And, Mass Save and the EPA were saying we have these hard cutoff dates where we're no longer going to be producing our 410A equipment. And then there's sell-through periods. And, these contractors had no idea what to do. They were real hesitant to switch to the new A2L refrigerants. And then when there was a shortage of gas, that even exacerbated it even more, where they were like, can we just keep with the 410A? And real hesitant to make that switch. And I know that the EPA is having some conversations now about extending the installation period for 410A equipment. So there's just a lot of confusion, I think, and a lot of hesitancy with some of these guys and making that full-blown switch that, they don't want to buy all new gauges and all new equipment. And it's a little scary in terms of their confidence in what's happening. And then we're also seeing a slight shift where for a long time, it was rebate driven. Massey was given tons and tons and tons of money out there. And now it's almost like an efficiency driven economy where guys are really going for like that dual fuel system where they're putting like a gas furnace and then a heat pump coil on top of it. So ductless is still a thing. It's still a very strong thing. But yeah, I'm just starting to see a little bit of a shift from rebate-driven installations to efficiency-driven installations, and dual fuel applications becoming more and more popular.
Do you think the contractor interest is still extremely high in heat pumps, or do you think that's settling down now? You think there's still room for a lot of growth with this, or you think this is kind of peaked out, or what's your feeling on that?
I don't want to say that it's peaked out, but I think it has slowed down just a little bit. Slowed down just a little from, call it, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, this thing was the biggest, fastest, shiniest object, and I think it's starting just to slow down just a little bit. It's not gone. It's not going away.
I don't think it's ever going to go anywhere.
No.
If you were to look back in 2025 sales, I mean, I know you worked for a previous distributor prior to coming to this distributor, but
yeah.
You think sales of heat pumps are up overall in the company, or you think they're flat, or is there room for growth still, or where do you think it's going?
Yeah,
I know you guys work with a lot of plumbing outfits too that are getting on board with this. I mean, what's your thought on this?
There's definitely been a growth. I know within my current company now, and with my previous employer, at my old company, we had zero sales in HVAC when I got there, and it started to really take off. I know here our HVAC growth is well over 15% from last year. I mean, it's our fastest growing segment within my current company. Yeah.
Wow. You think is that heat pumps? What part do you think heat pumps play in the whole overall HVAC growth section of that?
Massive. I mean, the amount of systems that are going out, unitary AC only type systems, it's few and far between. Like the old, boxes, the loud boxes on the side of the house, that is shifted very far away. And heat pumps, it's like every single system that's going out the door right now is a heat pump. Whether it's ductless or whether, you have an air handler, the ductless versions, if you will.
Yeah.
But no, heat pump technology is definitely the front runner in our growth within the HVAC trade for sure.
That's interesting because I was talking to a contractor the other day who was up in New Hampshire, and I mean, I'm finding more and more contractors in New Hampshire. There's always a dual fuel option that they're offering as an option there, and I find that amazing because it's usually propane up in the mountains and places like that, and there's always a dual fuel option with the heating side, and I find it funny how heat pumps in the ductless heat pump part of this, when we first started doing this, roll the clock back 20 years ago, it was more air conditioning.
Right.
It was always an air conditioning application, and now I see this big shift, and now it's more of a heating application. I find that kind of funny that it started out as this, but now it's gone to this. I think there's just been a whole big market industry shift in that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just me personally in my house, I have ductless in my house. That's what heats my house.
Yeah.
I have a gas furnace still in the basement, and I bumped it on maybe 3 times in the last 5 years. Like, I just don't
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah.
When I tell guys this, I'm like, yeah, this is how I heat my home. This is it. This is my main source of heat in my home. They're just like blown away by it, but it's becoming more and more popular, and you're seeing it a lot more whole house applications for sure.
Do you think that some contractors still have misconceptions about heat pumps?
Yes.
You think that really? You
Yeah.
think so, huh?
Yeah, and I think
You've run into them at all?
where I run into it is on the plumbers. I hate to
Okay.
say it, but the
I can
plumbers,
see this because they've been dealing with wet heat their whole life.
right? I mean, they're used to radiators, and especially in this area, big steam boilers, and like there's no way that little piece of plastic on the wall is going to heat your house. It's not going to happen, and they're very skeptical about it for sure. But the more exposure they have to it, and the more you have somebody like myself where I go out and talk to these guys and kind of educate them on what the technology can actually do, it's becoming more and more. Like I said, it's our biggest growing part of our business right now.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I think they see too. I mean, I'm not positive on this because look, we never did a lot of plumbing, but I would think the heat pump side is possibly more profitable than the plumbing side. But I just see a lot of moving pieces to plumbing when you're doing boilers and things like that. But I'm not positive on that. I don't want to. That's not my role. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean,
Have you ever gone through that exercise with a plumber?
yes, I definitely have. I've been on some boiler installs.
Okay.
And the reality is, like, when you see the term HVAC-R, right?
Yeah.
You see there's the H, and that's the heating part of it. And I would always get confused as to why there's like heating and plumbing and heating, and then there's HVAC, and what the big difference was. And the reality is, it's two totally different trades, totally different ways to heat your house. The plumbers think the HVAC stuff is really complicated and confusing, and then the HVAC guys look at the boiler and say, "What the hell is that thing?" And it's just two totally different trades. It's the training is totally different. The schooling that you have to go through for that, totally different. So it's just it's not being familiar with the other trade. That's really all it is.
So
One's not any more complicated than the other.
So I would say that's probably one of the biggest challenges that you have when you go out and you try to talk to a plumber about adding heat pumps to their business. I mean, is that the biggest challenge you face, you think?
Yeah, I just have to explain to them, water and refrigerant. It's it's mechanical equipment that's either moving hot water or steam versus moving refrigerant through a system.
Yeah.
So
what resources does your company provide for training and technical support for that? Because you're trying to switch them over now. You're trying to talk to the plumbing industry a little bit about heat pumps and how does your company provide training for that? Like what do they do? What type of support do they have? What type of marketing do they have? All of that stuff. I mean, how do you do that? How does FW Webb do that today?
Yeah, so we have, all of our vendor reps are fantastic. They come in. I mean, me personally, I just sat in on a GE ductless and heat pump class yesterday. So they're really, really big and really strong on training for its employees. It's inside sales staff, outside sales staff, even counter, warehouse, proper ways to handle the equipment. And then there's multiple branches all along down from New Jersey all the way up to Maine, and different manufacturers reps along with the individual companies. I mean, there's trainings going on every day, different locations. We got, there's low voltage control wiring, there's heat pump, there's A2L, there's cold climate training, boiler train. I mean, you name it. If we sell it, we have somebody here that will come in and train whoever needs the training on it, free of charge in most cases. It's really just, supply and demand. If we have customers that want to get trained up on something and we feel that it's a product that we want to stand behind, we will put on trainings in multiple locations.
How does the technical support work for these guys? Is it through manufacturers or is it through you guys? How does that work?
So within Webb, we have a very, very strong in-house tech support team. I work very, very closely. There's maybe a dozen just up on the East Coast where if it's heat pumps, if it's HVAC, if it's plumbing, we actually recommend that the contractor call us first and go through our technical support and our team first, our service team first, before ever escalating it to the manufacturer. We have good standing with a lot of a lot of our vendors where if we diagnose something, as just as an example, if we say, okay, there's a bad condenser fan motor in a condenser, and we as FW Webb can diagnose that, our manufacturers will stand behind us and they trust us that that's what it is. And the warranty process, it goes through us. It's seamless. It's super, super simple for the contractor.
Have you seen in your journey on the distributor side that you could share a success story about a contractor who transformed their business? Do you know of one that you've seen that has done that, who's really done a transformation?
Yeah. I have one in mind. Now that you bring that one up, one of my current customers, I'd like to keep them nameless at this
Yeah,
time.
that's fine. That's fine.
But they were predominantly heating. That's really all they did was just heating. They did boilers. They really didn't even do furnaces. It was just mostly boilers, and plumbing, rough plumbing, and they
That
had
doesn't sound
called.
like a profitable business, but anyway.
No, they had called up and they were interested in getting into Ductless. And it's actually two different companies I can reference. One of them is a real small company, small outfit, two or three guys. And he just said, what is this all about? I'm super, super interested in it. And I went out and I brought his guys in, his whole company, and we went through a training similar to the training that you put on, that you and I worked on together at N.E.T.R. I trained his guys in-house at first, and then I had a manufacturer come in and provide supplemental training on the actual product, because I can teach the installation portion of it, but I wanted them to get familiar with the product itself and get certified through the manufacturer. Once we got that done, I went on site with them and assisted, hands off, but I assisted with an installation. Kind of talked them through the whole thing, walked them through the whole thing. And then I did it again the second time. But the second time I went out, I kind of kept my mouth shut. I stepped back and just kind of let them do their thing and served as an advisor. And now both of those companies, I would say 50 to 60% of their business has shifted from plumbing and heating to
Wow.
HVAC, specifically in the summertime, where they would send guys off in the summer. With us, it was like in the winter months, but with these guys, they were taking the summers off because they had nothing to do. And now they're full 12 months.
Wow.
And HVAC is a major, major part of the business. One other company, the larger of the two, they just put in, I think it was a 14 unit condo building up in Salem, and they did all the HVAC for it.
Wow.
And these guys didn't even know how to spell HVAC a year ago.
What separates a successful heat pump contractor from those who struggle? What do you think happens? Like what separates those guys? Like, what do they really need to do from the ones that are struggling? Because a lot of guys want to get into it, they want to do it. What separates the successful ones?
I was thinking about this question. I was waiting for this question. It's the leadership. I hate to say it, and I don't want to just generalize it, but it's the leadership within the company and the expectation. And, I learned a long time ago, and this is something that I tell every single one of my customers. I tell everybody. I even tell my daughters this. Like, the job itself, the installation, the sales part, it's not the hardest thing in the world to do. It really isn't. That's not the hard part. The most difficult part for a company coming up is when you have your management team, it's learning how to manage personalities. That's really that thing has stuck with me, and that has helped me immensely, because you can teach skills to just about anybody, but each individual person, they got their own personality. I remember a day rolling in a long time ago, and I remember you were standing on the loading dock, and I had ripped jeans and a mohawk going, and I didn't really take my job very, very seriously, but you knew how to manage my personality and to get the best out of me and to kind of refocus my life. And really it was that shift. And when I kind of took over, it was like you can teach, like I said, you could teach the skills, but managing the personalities of the people that you're asking to do the projects,
Yeah.
that's when you can really tap into the skills and the knowledge that your employees have. And once you start to figure out exactly where to put people, how to put people, they can really shine, and your business will just take off. But it's really getting to know your people more than anything else. And then
Interesting.
to go with that, marketing is a massive piece
What
of
do
it.
you wish that, you go out every day and you see these guys? I mean, what do you wish more contractors understood about heat pumps or your products? What do if you had one thing to say, what do you wish more contractors understood about heat pumps, or the products, what do you feel if you had one thing? I mean, what do you wish that they could, understand better about heat pumps?
The profitability, the opportunity for profitability. You can make,
Boy, am I glad you said that.
like, I see these guys come in and I talk to them and they're buying just endless amounts of ductwork. And okay, ductwork is ductwork, but you're not going to make money. You're just not going to make any money. You can, if you had a little ranch, like a 4 or 5 room ranch, you're going to be in there for a week cutting holes in ceilings and running all this ductwork, and it's a mess. You don't make any money.
I've demonstrated that a million times. I've probably done that, not a million, but I've probably done it at least 500 times in 500 trainings across the United States. And I see guys do wake up to it a little bit, but I think one of probably the biggest way to get it across to them, I know where you're going. It's definitely material to labor ratio. When you look at those two numbers and you see, I've got $5,000 in material and $5,000 in labor costs to do this job. I'm just telling you right now, that job is not going to make money. It's going to be extremely hard to make money because you only can sell product one day, on Monday. If that's a 5-day job and you're going in there on Monday and ending on Friday, you have only sold the product day one. And the rest, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're just providing labor. You're not selling material. And I think a good way to get that across to contractors is that, look, if I can sell boxes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday along with labor, that's going to be a profitable model.
Oh,
and I think it's just so hard to get that across to them because I agree with you. They're so entrenched in this ductwork thing. And look, I'm not saying don't add ducted and ductless together because those projects work very well.
Right.
But make sure it's priced properly, And I think we just rolled into the section that I wanted to talk about, which was business and profitability, And I think stressing it to contractors that heat pumps are profitable. They really, really are, when you look at it, I guess if you look at it, what do you tell contractors about the profitability on it? I mean, I think that's the best part to talk to about. How do you talk to a contractor about profitability with heat pumps that's not doing it at all right now?
Right. So I go in and I'll talk to them about how long it would typically take them to do a boiler, right? Or just a unitary system with ductwork or whatever. And we'll start talking about ductless, and we'll start talking about, once we get past all the training aspect of it all and they understand what they're doing and they know that there's a process to this whole thing. And I'll say, okay, now that you know how to do it, let me come look at a job with you. And we'll go and we'll look at a project, and I'll say, okay, this is going to be 2 days. You got a lead and a helper for 2 days. Oh, no, I had this for 5. No, 2 days. And this is the number that you should be around. And I tell them, and they're like, yeah, but that puts X amount of dollars in my pocket at the end. Yeah, I know exactly what it puts in your pocket. You need to do this, and you need to do it on a regular basis. And once you start doing this, you're going to start to build this muscle memory as to, okay, this particular project takes these 2 guys this much amount of a time. And then that you can start to really, really push on your marketing and your selling. You fill up a schedule. And, I had a magic Excel spreadsheet, and that thing just had colors and names.
Sold boxes. We're selling boxes, right?
It was unbelievable.
It's like playing chess.
It turned into just an absolute machine. And it's insane. If you know what you're doing, you market your company, you get out there, you sell, and then you have a good install team that can go out and put it in and just do what, install the product that you're selling. You fine tune all those little things, and it becomes a machine. It's unbelievable.
I have one contractor in Chicago. He's one guy, one owner with 2 install crews, and he does $2 million a year with 5 people. And all he's focused is on heat pumps. And, and he says, hey, there might be a day I don't have a job here and there. He said, but that's okay. He said, I have enough money I can pay my people to not even work today. He said, because this is what I do and I'm extremely profitable at it. It's just, when you look at it, the heat pump market, I feel, is extremely profitable. And what do you tell guys that, well, it's going to take me 5 days to do this job? I mean, when I look at heat pumps, there's a total misconception, I think, because even when I teach my class and I show these guys, you got a 2-zone heat pump that you're doing today. 2 guys can do that in 1 day. One guy can install a single zone unit in 4 hours. Am I right or wrong?
100% right.
And I see most crews. Do you see this a lot? That most companies they're so in tuned to sending out a pair of people to do a job. Do we need 2 guys to go out for 8 hours to do a single zone heat pump?
No, absolutely not. No, I see.
And that's just a loss of money, a waste of money and time. Am I correct?
Totally correct. Totally correct. And
how do you get that across to these guys? Because they're so entrenched to the 2-man crew and the guy Billy and Bobby driving around, and it's just a loss of revenue.
So what I had done with the previous companies that I was talking about, the smaller of the companies, he's a real small company, so he can't absorb these massive costs, especially with labor. Labor being the biggest expense that you're going to have. I did a project with him, and we were looking at it, and I remember I rolled up onto the site around lunchtime, and his guys were sitting out front, just eating pizza and chicken wings, and there was 0 sense of urgency at all, like none. And it was a 2-day. He had scheduled it for a 2-day project, and not to boast or anything, but I would have had it done by myself in 6 hours. And they had 2 guys there for 2 days, and these guys are just hanging out in the front lawn eating chicken wings and everything.
Oh God.
When it was all done, I went to his office is at his house. And I went to his house and I sat down. I go, let's do a job costing report on this thing. And we sat down. I went, all right, let's talk about your expenses. I want to know, like, how much did you spend on line hide, and how much did you spend on equipment, and what did it cost you in labor, and not just their dollar figure, like the burden labor rate, because they have trucks and they have health insurance and they have all. Let's really do a deep dive job costing on that job. And I'm just telling you, I could have done it by myself in 6 hours if I was working for you, and let's just do it. And after he did all of the math and we sat down, he lost money on that job. And I said, this is not profitable for you. You don't get it. You don't understand. So on the next one, this is some, critical feedback that I'm going to give you here. This is how you should really approach this one.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks later, he does another job. They smashed it. They did a great job. And I go, all right, let's do another job costing. Let's figure this thing out. And he actually made money. And he was like, holy crap, I can actually make a good amount of money.
It's pretty simple, because all you need is a burden labor rate spreadsheet to figure out what do my people cost me, and a job costing sheet that has the right margin on it. It's not that difficult. It really is not. I see it all the time. I go through these exercises and training, and these guys throw out these labor numbers, and it's like, and you got to see the one that I do with a complete ducted job, cut-in job in an attic with a 3-ton system in the summertime. And I have a company that will tell me they can put 2 guys out there for 1 day and install all the ductwork and get the whole entire job done, piped, wired, everything. And then I got another guy saying, what are you, out of your mind? There's no way. Then it goes to 2 days with 2 guys. Then it goes to 3 days with 2 guys. And then I usually have one honest company that will stand up and say, guys, this is a 4 to 5 day job with 2 guys to do it right. And because if you rush the first day, you're going to be back the second day, third day, fourth day, and fifth day, fixing all the mess ups that happen. And then now we start to look at the labor side of it, and exactly what you just said. Now they grasp it and understand it and go, wow, it's so crazy. I guess if I ask you this one, what advice would you give to a contractor who's just getting started in the heat pump business? What would you tell them?
Educate yourself first. get trained, understand what you're doing, take a chance. And when you're gonna, if you're going to do this, if you're gonna get into ductless, just commit to it. I stress the importance of training. My training consisted, as an installer, my training consisted of just 2 days working with a guy who wasn't a very great trainer. But I remember my very first installation, I went out there with a keyhole saw to try to make a hole through a house. But either way, getting the proper training and understanding what you're doing, having some confidence in yourself that you're going to do this thing and you're going to do it right, commit to it. Just take a chance on yourself. Like, if you really believe in yourself, take a chance on yourself, learn, just ask a lot of questions to people that have been doing this for a long, long time. If somebody is offering training, go to the training. Like, really, really know what you're doing before you get into it. Don't just be like well, I'm a plumber and, Mrs. Jones bought a Mr. Cool from Home Depot and, wants me to go and stuff. Like, no. You're going to do it right. Be a professional, do it right.
What are the common mistakes they should avoid
for the new companies coming up?
Yeah, for a new company coming up, what are some of the common mistakes that you feel they can avoid right out of the gate? Like, I guess, what are the biggest mistakes you see happen on jobs that guys that are just starting out? Like, you're always getting that call from somebody. What are these common mistakes? I mean, and you probably see them all the time.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I'm seeing is companies will go in, they'll install a system, and then a week or two later, they'll call me and they say, we have a problem. What's the problem? Well, there's a leak. There's no heat or no AC. 2 weeks after it. And I'll go out to them and I'll say, okay, did you do a pressure test? Did you do a triple evacuation? Did you weigh in the charge properly? Did you measure? Did you do oh, no. Okay.
That's the biggest mistake.
There's your problem. And then, I have nitrogen and stuff, and we'll bump it up and we'll get it up to 400 or 500 PSI. And sure enough, it's starting to go down, and you look and they got a bad flare because they tried to use some fancy tool that they bought that automatically does the flare instead of using your trusty flare and block. They just try to cut corners here and there, and they're not doing all of the steps really to the manufacturer's specifications. They're just kind of doing it rule of thumb, old school way of doing stuff. And it doesn't work. No torque wrenches when they're tightening flares. Look, they give you a torque wrench.
Sounds like lack of training to me.
Yeah, lack of training. That's it.
Lack of training is a common mistake. It's just, and let's be honest, it's usually two things. It's either leaks or wiring. I mean, because really, you're only connecting 4 points, and you're connecting six wires. If you were doing a single zone, you're connecting 4 ports and 6 wires. Correct?
Well, yeah. Now there's an extra wire, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, but what we're saying is, I mean, it's really cross wiring and leaks.
Yeah, that's it. There's very seldom an actual manufacturer defect. These things are tested in the factory, soup to nuts, before they're going out in the fields. Yeah. And it's interesting because I remember for years I would wake up in the morning, I'd be putting my boots on, and I'd always put on Channel 7 News every single morning. I put on Channel 7 News to check the weather, to see what I was going up against, and then to see if there was any house fires. I don't know why, but I always looked for house fires. And just to make sure that, a system that I was working on, there was never a fire. But either way, and just a couple of days ago, there was a fire down in Dorchester. It was on the news in Dorchester. And I remember when they were going over it, I saw a fortress on the side of the house, and I was like, oh shit, that's not good.
Oh God. All right, so let me ask you this kind of in closing here. It's just support and resources. I mean, how can contractors connect with your company? How can they connect with your company? How do they do that? I mean, how would you go about doing that if you're not already doing it?
So if you're not doing it, we are the big giant red box that's almost all over Massachusetts and New Hampshire and Connecticut. But no, fwweb.com. Great. That's the landing page for our company. If you don't have an account, it's like 3 clicks and you can apply for an account to get an account with us. All of our contact information is there. I think, Mike, if you might have my contact information, you could throw it up on the screen after this. I mean, you can call me. We are 8,000 plus employees. So we're all one team. We're all one company. We're all here to help each other and to help you. So Yeah, just you can't miss us.
Any upcoming events, launches, initiatives that contractors should know about that's going on with heat pumps, or anything you'd just like to add?
I don't have anything right now. Right now, we're kind of shifting into, I hate to say it, but because this is the Dominate Ductless podcast, but it's boiler season, and really within this company, that's really been the bread and butter. So there's a lot of boiler training going on right now. There's some furnace trainings coming up, and on our website again, right towards the top, you'll see careers and training tab. You can click on the trainings, and you can see a list of all trainings for all locations. You can filter it by whatever state you're in. If you're in New York, New Jersey, it's all there. And really, just by reaching out to any one of us, if you have a request, if you have a comment, a question, a concern, you're interested in getting trained on a particular product, you can reach out to any one of us, and we can get the wheels in motion to get you and your company either trained at one of our locations or right there at your shop. Again, it doesn't matter even what state you're in. If you're down in Jersey, New York, we're in Pennsylvania, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, we're everywhere. So,
Well,
if
hey,
you need, we're here to help you.
Well, hey, thanks for joining the Dominate Ductless podcast this morning. This has been really, really good. I always enjoy catching up with you. And, as always, thank you for everything you've done. Say hello to the family and keep knocking them dead out there, kid. I'm very proud of you. I've seen you come from a guy who knew nothing to a guy who knows a lot right now and is very valuable to the industry. So, again, thanks for joining. Take care.
Thank you again.
Thank you
again for everything, Mike. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.